On today's episode, I'm going to show you how to make a Christmas tree skirt with a vintage feel. This project actually started as a holiday tablecloth, and I was able to get a couple of small Christmas tree skirts out of it, depending on the size of your tablecloth, obviously. This one started with a 44-inch circle. I cut it out of the edge of the tablecloth, and then I took and cut about a 10-inch circle in the center of the 44-inch circle. Now, if you are a sewer, you certainly could pin and stitch this. I'm not much of a sewer, so I actually used a Fabri-Tac adhesive to fold over my edges and mount it. And I'm going to show you how I embellished it once I got my basic skirt made. I wanted to use some great vintage images that I got on the internet, and I printed these with a laser printer. Anytime you're going to Mod Podge, which is what I'm going to do, you need to make sure that you have a laser ink, or otherwise it will bleed. And around the outside edges of my tablecloth / tree skirt, I used the fabric Mod Podge, just like following the directions that you would use, placed it on the back of the image, and then mounted them, and then I put another layer of the Mod Podge over the top of each of the images. And I kind of arranged them in a haphazard fashion, going around the whole perimeter of the skirt. And I let those dry. And then I'll show you how we made the flower embellishments. Each of these poinsettias was created with, again, pieces of the same tablecloth that I cut and used with a Clover Kansashi flower maker. And I followed the directions to assemble that until I had the flower. I used some vintage metallic buttons that I had. Each one's a little bit different. You could certainly paint some buttons gold or silver if you didn't happen to have vintage buttons around. And I mounted those with a glue gun so that they'd hold a little tighter. Or you could sew them, but again, I'm not really much of a sewer, so. For the leaves, I used some green velvet. I wanted to highlight the leaves a little bit, so I used a lighter color green embroidery thread and went ahead and did a running stitch around the leaf and created the veining in the leaf. And I attached the velvet leaves and the flowers, again using the Fabri-Tac adhesive, kind of randomly around, mixed in with the vintage Christmas images. I went and found some decorative trim, and I also mounted that with the same adhesive. And there we have a fun vintage field Christmas tree skirt. For a little twist, this one has a little more of a whimsical feel. I used a pom-pom trim. I didn't make the Kansashi flowers, I just used jingle bells, and it gives it a little bit of fun sound too when the gifts are being pulled out from underneath it. I hope you enjoyed this project and are inspired to try something creative for your Christmas holiday this year, and be sure to keep your eyes open for the next episode of Behind These Eyes.